First off, guys, thanks for your well wishes. I'm still feeling a bit groggy and discombobulated, but otherwise I'm alive. Also, I made a mistake in my last video. Please disregard what I said about tessellated versus imbricated scales with respect to color. My brain wasn't working and I got confused with another idea I was trying to express. So thanks to my viewer Zach for pointing it out. Anyway, I wanted to finish the comparisons, especially as I know some of you have been wondering which one to get. So let's get it going. First, of course, let's compare our two color variants. I think you can see how beautiful the form is, and when you have them side by side, each is wonderful in their own way. Now, which you get will depend on your preference, either for something more naturalistic or maybe a bit more fanciful. I thought I'd show you some close-ups so you get a rough, and I say very rough idea, because your lighting conditions will be different. But here you get some idea at least of how the detail looks with each color scheme. So the detail down the brown neck with all those subtle shades and fades. And then the blue one with markings quite reminiscent of the Haolonggood Alamosaurus. Here the kind of dry brushing, creating all these different zones of color shades on the brown. I dare say that to my eye, and in my lighting, there's a kind of complexity that the blue doesn't have. And yet, that complementary juxtaposition of blue and yellow is just so striking and so winning. And here you have that silvery accent on the mid-dorsal, which you don't get in the blue. Just a few mid-range shots now, and both really are very good. I suspect I'm not making this any easier for you to choose, to be honest. The sculpt itself is so wonderful, I think any color you get, you'll be happy with. If you get blue, take it as a fanciful indulgence. But if you get the brown, be very happy you have something that looks very believable. But if I had to keep one, it would be the brown natural one. The complexity is just out of the world. Next, we have the most recent PNSO Mamenchisaurus. This is their second one, a very nice but disappointingly, anticlimactically small. It's about 1:45 scale, so the size difference is obvious. While nice as a model, it's just blown away in respectability by the Haolonggood. And this is what many collectors want, a 1:35 scale large sauropod. But a look at the integument and you'll understand that even 3 years ago, PNSO standards was already top-notch. But here you see what more current technological developments have wrought. Then we have the PNSO's older Mamenchisaurus, and here you see a nice representation of the original diplodocene form in posture and proportion. And actually, my preference would be to have this older one paired with the new Haolonggood on display. Very nice to have a bit of history reflected in your collection. And incidentally, these plain colors grew on me so much, I really wanted the brown Haolonggood, not just for realism, but to match them. Then the very worthy Collectae Mamenchisaurus. It's small but consistent with their offerings of inconsistent scale models. And given its form, quality, and price, still very welcome. Then, speaking of length, we must look at Rebor's Diplodocus. It's really wonderful to have so many clades in roughly the same 1:35 scale represented, and you really see the difference in Baoplan. The emphasis with the Mamenchisaurus is the neck, while it's that undulating tail that captures you in the Diplodocus. And speaking of Diplodocus, we must have an Apatosaurus. And here's the respectable Haolonggood Apatosaurus that gave us the first glimpse of hope for large, updated 1:35 sauropods again. When this came out, it blew us all away, and it still does for me. Never until then did I dream I'd ever see a mass-produced 1:35 model of the big boys again. And speaking of Diplodocus and Apatosaurus, Brachiosaurus belongs in the same breath. So first, the W-Dragon Giraffatitan. And this angle really brings home to me the diversity of shape and form, even for a clade whose members probably look very similar to members of the lay public. What a view! And then the Nanmu Watchman Brachiosaurus. We have, of course, the awesome Haolonggood Alamosaurus. This massive, heavy titanosaur was the first volley delivering on the promises in that enigmatic schematic. They started off big, and now they followed through with the second, this Mamenchisaurus. The huge titanosaur in the same scale really shows you there's always a bigger fish, even at Mamenchisaurus size levels. And for contemporaneous predators, if this is Sinocanadorum, I believe that's the upper Shishugou formation. Now I have nothing from there as far as I know, but for Hetuanensis and Yangyi, they're from the upper Shasimiao formation. And for that, I have PNSO's Yongchuansaurus. First, the Magnus, and then the Shangyuensis. Of course, our standard PNSO T-Rexes for comparison. First, Wilson, and then Cameron. So, really nice together. If we look at that schematic again, here's my little go at recreating it. You can see they've made little changes in the final products, which is why I don't really speculate too much until I at least see release images. For example, whether it's Giraffatitan or Brachiosaurus. But together here we have a catalogue of Haolonggood's contributions to sauropod lovers everywhere. They've been good to their word with 2 large sauropods now, so I can only wait to see what comes next. As my favourite group, I'm really looking forward to getting a fuller roster of 1:35 sauropods, but I do hope they come reasonably spaced apart, so my wallet has time to regenerate its contents. And for the Mamenchisaurus, it's a real feather in the cap, having something so good, so big, and so iconic in 2 colours, but really, another victory like this anytime soon would utterly undo my wallet. I'm going to try to get some sleep, so let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.